Alright, doing a long overdue update on the LRP van. It's December 17th, and I'm out in my new driveway, sanding Bondo by hand in a t-shirt, so obviously I'm not in Ohio anymore, and it feels great. So, downsized a little bit in the garage department, but I do have this amazing paved driveway, and a real nice setup in the garage, and I can push it out and work in my driveway opposed to a gravel driveway, which is worth its weight in gold. So when I got where I am currently, I went to a junkyard and I got the emblems for my hood. I got the missing letters from my hood. This one needs to be tweaked a little bit, and then I got the emblem for my grill. I transported the vehicle, I loaded it up to the top with all the parts and everything. I put the doors on it. The only problem I had was with the driver door, and I figured out why it wasn't lining up here. When I put the new A-pillars in, the self-tappers that I used to hold it and pull it back, when it pulled it back flush with this panel, it brought it back, which made it flush here, which is what I wanted, but it threw off how the door lined up. So what I need to do is I need to make a plate and drill 3 holes in it for these hinge bolts, and then I can give myself the proper room to move this forward. This hinge needs to come forward a little bit, which means I might have to customize this hinge a little bit, but nonetheless I can get that to work no problem. And that'll be that. So I got the body line welded in all the way around, and I am just working on smoothing this out. I got a little high spot here, and I got a couple high spots here, and I'm just gonna do one more skim coat on. And then honestly, I'm not gonna worry about it after that. I'm real happy with how this turned out. I got all this welded in. It's smooth. It's about as smooth as it's gonna be for as how bad this thing was. And I'm not gonna nitpick it apart, because if I wouldn't have done that much, it would have been crushed anyway. So I saved the damn thing, and that's all that really matters to me. I just want to knock out a few of these high spots here along this body line, and then I still have to do this part. I had to cut back here so I could get up there and weld my inside of this pillar on the other side. I've got that all cleaned up. I still need to weld that, and then I will fold this over and then butt weld that up and smooth that all down with the rest of this. I got my cross bracing, X bracing all cut out of here. I need to smooth it down. I have a few areas that I need to plate throughout. Over there needs smooth. Obviously there's a few spots that need to be smoothed down, cleaned up. Here I need to cut these and bring them down a little bit. They're off just a hair from the new floor. Same over here. I'm just gonna bring that down, just cut that, bring that down, fill that in with weld. And then I need to do my my pillars coming down there. And then I'm gonna go through and grind down and weld all the old self-tapper holes from the old interior because I'm going to make all new ones when I do the inside of this. That way it's all new. Same thing on this corner, so I could weld on in the inside pillar here. I had to cut this back, so that's all done and rust proofed. I'll fold that down over and butt weld that up. Been working my body line over here today. And like I said, there's probably a few high spots, maybe a few low spots, but it's pretty damn smooth all the way around. And I didn't get into any of the custom work. I mean, a little bit into the green here because this side was pretty high. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow my line here, and I'm going to mask off with some tape where the black was, so I can go back in here and I can respray the black striping that was all the way throughout and blend it right into the so you'll have black, tape that off, black, tape that off into the green. So I'm gonna put that black line back through all three of them throughout the whole van, and then this will be blended out Sunfire yellow. Gonna fix around my windows, and I'm doing a little bit of skim coat around the doors where the door jams, where stuff was welded to it. I still got to smooth these down. Plate a few things here. I got to plate these new A-pillars because they were just like that, and you know, they've already been rust proof, so I'm just going to cut those out and I'll replate those. I'm going to have to do some work up here, but this isn't good. The front of the roof is going to be done last. I'm waiting for my 69 El Camino to come down still because the bed is full of all my scrap metal and sheet metal that I need to finish this off up here on the roof. I need to plate this to the old in there, so I'm gonna have to cut this line back, and then this needs to be cleaned up along this. But I have a full piece for this back part in the back of my 69 El Camino, so I'm gonna do a cut and paste on this back panel once I get everything spot welded in, and then you know, I can go plate the rest of the roof off. I gotta rebuild that little piece there that was cut out because it was rusted, so I'll plate this and right up into there, and that overlaps, and then I'll spot weld this top piece in. But the doors lined up. I had all the doors on when I transported the thing, and then I'll weld this up, overlap that back over, and this will all be sealed up back here. Once this back is all sealed up, then I'm gonna move into the front of the roof, finish welding that roof line, smoothing it down. I'm gonna smooth it down on the inside and the outside at the top, replate the front roof, and that'll get skim coated, smoothed down, and ready for paint. I got my seam sealer on the inside of the body line. Still got to get in around the wheel wells. I haven't figured out how I'm going to do that yet because it's a tight squeeze. And a little bit of work to do in that back corner, like I said. But for the most part, most of the structure is back in this thing. So it's pretty cut and dry from here out. And I'm really looking forward to it. Then I got the seats. This is my new garage. So I got the seats, I got the high back buckets. I might have put this low back in there yet. I don't know. That came with it. These all came out of the same van. So here's my new garage setup. It's pretty cool. It's a little smaller, but it's definitely more organized, and I like it. And when I do my 69, I'll bring that in here, and then I'll put the chassis on rollers first, and I'll roll that in and move it over here, and then I'll do the car here. But and I can utilize my driveway too, so I'm not really worried about space. I think I got a killer space, and I'm good at using it. So, but so yeah, it's a little like 4:30 now, and the day's about, you know, done here. But I've been out in the sun all day, getting shit done. So I'm hoping to have this done after winter, which isn't going to be in April. It should be like, you know, end of January or so, February. Just keep moving on it, and I will keep you posted as it goes. And as always, I'll throw some cool music and a picture roll in the end to show you what I've been working on the whole time. So, adios. I got two little pieces to weld underneath this roof piece to tie these two pieces together. I got my lip back on my piece. Everything fits good. I got my window ready to jam. And I even got my A-pillar. I'm gonna do a few little touch-up tacks, but a little bit right there. Smooth that down a little bit more. But yeah, I'm close. I just got that rocker left. That rocker, and 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's it on the body. All right. Front roof. Not the prettiest, but it'll work. Working with the old sheet metal. So trying to get it all in place so I can just weld everything at once. So I've got the front to plate in, and then all this will be ground down at the very end. I've got 2 sides up front, plate those in. I've got this little bit of rocker left to do, which will be easy. These windows are good, so I don't have to do these. I got those 2 sides over there to do at the bottom. And I got to bring this down a little bit. I got to plate that in, plate the bottom of that in, and bring this down on top of the fender, weld up the 2 holes in the fenders, and plate the top roof in, plate this little piece in that was all rotted out, and then this here, and it's done with the big stuff. So I had to get crafty on this this back piece, because this back piece was pretty rotten at the lip where it welded in. So I made all new sections. See, that one's under there, but I ran out of welding gas. So we're just gonna weld a lip onto the end of this roof pan. I cut too wide there, so I'll just have to plate that in. Shit happens. My cut was a little bit off, but I'm just gonna fill it in. But that should work, and then this should give me, you know, some good to weld into, you know, the rail and tie it all together, and then seam sealer over everything, and that should be it. So I ran out of welding gas, but I can get this all mocked up once that lip is all welded around that back piece, and then that'll be done. So got everything made. Everything's ready. I just got to work on this little rocker panel a little bit more. I got my top plates up here welded in today. And then the roof piece will lay over that. Self-tap into this lip. I got to clean this up yet. Smooth it down. Rust-proof it. Or, you know, not rust-proof it, but what's it called? Weld-through primer, everything. So that's done. And then I just got to make a little piece here yet. So hopefully tomorrow I'll be on my way. I'm gonna have to fill in this little gap here, because this is lines up good down there. I'll have to fill in the gap here and here, but that won't be a big deal. And then yeah, that's that. So ready to move on to the doors and be done with this thing.